It was December 4th, 2003. A cold wind slithered through Arlington, Virginia, as families prepared for another quiet winter evening. But peace shattered when strange echoes tore through the sky, repeated bursts of light arcing upward. Someone was firing a flare gun into the night, and they wouldn't stop. Officer McNeil, patrolling nearby, was flagged down by a trembling family. "It's coming from over there," they said, pointing to a modest duplex tucked beneath skeletal trees. As he approached, the popping of flare after flare grew louder, closer. Inside that dimly lit home lived James Yu, a 56-year-old man no one really knew, yet everyone avoided. Neighbors called him a ghost, a recluse, a ticking clock. His online presence, however, told a far darker tale. His posts spiraled into the depths of paranoia. Claims that the FBI, his ex-wife, even his next-door neighbors were plotting to kill him. The government, he said, had betrayed him. His windows were covered in aluminum foil, trees wrapped in toilet paper, as if the world outside was something to keep out or keep from seeing in. That night, he fired 41 flares in 25 minutes, each shot a scream into the void. Police begged him to stop. They shouted, they knocked, but James never spoke a word. They escalated. Gas was deployed into the home, and armored vehicles rolled up to break through the barricaded door. And then it happened. A flash of gunfire, not flares this time, erupted from inside. Officers retreated, their breaths fogging in the December air. They sensed it. Something worse was coming, and it came in the form of fire. In a thunderous roar, the house detonated, splinters, smoke, and flame erupting into the sky. The home had vanished. What remained was rubble and silence. Beneath the floorboards, James had stored 55 gallons of gasoline. Authorities believe it was a trap. He wanted them inside. He wanted to take them all with him. But in a cruel twist of fate, only he perished. Or did he? In the days after, a flurry of online posts from what looked like James's account began to surface. "It wasn't me," one said. "They faked it." The internet spiraled into chaos. Had he escaped? Had the government silenced him? For a moment, it felt like a digital ghost had risen from the flames. But the truth was less sensational. The account was a hoax, created to feed on confusion. The body in the ashes was confirmed to be James Yu. Yet, the legend lived on, fueled by a man's final act of paranoia and the eerie footage left behind. Years later, on another continent, something equally surreal and horrifying unfolded. In Durham, England, a massive inflatable structure called Dream Space was erected in a local park. Designed by artist Maurice Aegis, it was a psychedelic maze of glowing corridors, a dream made physical. Children ran through its twisting tunnels. Adults wandered in awe. It felt otherworldly. And on June 22nd, 2006, it became a nightmare. Elizabeth Collins, 68, had entered the structure with her grandson. "I'll find some peace and serenity in there," she joked before stepping inside. Minutes later, a powerful gust of wind swept through the park, and Dream Space began to rise. To onlookers, it was first mistaken for a ride, a floating balloon, a spectacle. But then the truth hit. It wasn't tethered. It wasn't safe. The enormous structure snapped free from its anchors and soared nearly 30 feet into the air. Inside were over 30 people, screaming, crashing into walls, tumbling in chaos. Aegis, the artist, tried desperately to hold it down, but the air lifted him off the ground. He fell, helpless, as his creation turned deadly. When dream space finally plummeted back to Earth, it crashed into a nearby parking lot. Children stumbled out, bloodied and dazed. Elizabeth and another woman named Claire were not as lucky. Their lives ended in the sky, victims of something that was meant to inspire wonder. The tragedy shattered Agis. He was charged with manslaughter, but only fined. He vowed never to build again. 3 years later, he died. His dream space had become a grave, but nothing compared to what was captured on a VHS tape in October 2006. Inside a cramped apartment in Ontario, police discovered a mother named Elaine Campione, sitting beside a camera and murmuring to herself. Nearby, a tape. And on that tape, horror. It began like any home video. Elaine filming her daughter Serena on her 3rd birthday. A new bike, laughter, presents. "How much does Mama love you?" she asked sweetly. "This much," Serena replied with a grin. But the warmth didn't last. In the next clip, Elaine walks through her trashed apartment, bitterly monologuing about deplorable conditions. She rants about 2 men, Leo and Diego, claiming they ruined her life. Her words darken, her eyes grow glassy, and then she breaks. "My daughters are dead," she later says to the camera. "We're all in heaven now." Elaine believed she was protecting her children, that someone or something was coming for them. That night, she drew a bath, told her daughters they were playing a game, and held them under until the bubbles stopped. Serena and Sophia were found in bed, hand in hand, wrapped in rosaries. Elaine had planned to die too, overdosing shortly after the recording. But she lived and confessed. Her paranoia wasn't sudden. It grew over years of documented abuse from their ex-husband. But isolation and fear warped her reality until she believed that death was the only escape. She was sentenced to life in prison. And yet, every Sunday, she walks free, just for a few hours, to attend church. The final story is perhaps the most chaotic and the most unexplainable. April 18th, 2010. Gavin Collins was released from prison after serving time for burglary. But within 24 hours, the world would know him not as an ex-convict, but as a monster. Gavin believed he was Jesus. He muttered to himself, ripped off a car's rearview mirror, and drove through Nottinghamshire at over 120 miles per hour. Dashcams captured his face, eyes wide, soaked in sweat, muttering prophecies. He crashed once, then again. Each time, he walked away without a scratch, as if something truly was protecting him. He broke into a woman's home, smeared crosses on her and her children's foreheads using his own blood, and stole another car. His rampage ended when he ran down a pedestrian near a bus stop. 87-year-old Terry Radford, a retired teacher. Gavin exited the car, stared at Terry's broken body, and whispered, "I've killed the devil." This should never have happened. Inside prison, Gavin had assaulted guards, started fires, and failed drug tests. He begged to be released, and somehow he was. One day of freedom cost a man his life. Gavin was sentenced to 21 years, but the footage remains online, a chilling time capsule of madness in motion. And so, these stories live on, in police tapes, in home videos, in grainy dashcam footage. They aren't urban legends. They aren't fiction. They happened. Real people, real terror. And they remind us of something we often forget. Sometimes, the scariest place isn't haunted houses or ghost towns. It's the human mind when it finally breaks.